Did you know that King Solomon, known for his unparalleled wisdom, also faced a tragic downfall due to his own choices? How could a man so wise fall into such deep moral and spiritual decay? Today, we unravel the life of a king whose story was filled with glory and tragedy. In this video, we will explore the life of Solomon, from his rise to greatness as a wise ruler to the tragic consequences of his decisions. Solomon is a name synonymous with wisdom, wealth, and power. As the son of King David, Solomon inherited a kingdom at the peak of its strength. But despite all his achievements, his life also serves as a warning about the dangers of turning away from God. When Solomon ascended to the throne, Israel was at the height of its power and prestige. His father David had unified the tribes, established Jerusalem as the political and spiritual capital, and secured peace across the land. Solomon's task was to build on this foundation, leading Israel into an era of unprecedented prosperity. His reign is often considered the zenith of Israel's history. But as we will discover, this period of wealth and power came at a great cost. In this detailed exploration, we will journey through Solomon's successes, his unparalleled wisdom, the construction of the magnificent temple in Jerusalem, and the height of Israel's glory. But we'll also confront his flaws, particularly how his indulgences and alliances drew him away from his faith and led to his ultimate downfall. Solomon's story is not just one of triumph, but of temptation, indulgence, and spiritual decline. How does a man, blessed with so much by God, end up turning away from him? Let's find out. Despite his extraordinary wisdom and wealth, Solomon faced significant internal challenges that would ultimately lead to his downfall. These challenges were not external threats, like wars or invasions. Instead, they were much more personal and subtle, temptations from within his own heart and the pressures of his relationships. At the core of Solomon's downfall was his struggle with foreign alliances, particularly through marriages. According to the Bible, Solomon had 700 wives and 300 concubines, many of whom were foreign princesses, from nations such as Egypt, Moab, Ammon, and Sidon. These marriages were politically strategic. They forged alliances that helped secure Israel's borders and extended its influence. Marriages in the ancient Near East were often about more than love. They were crucial tools of diplomacy. By marrying the daughters of foreign kings, Solomon ensured peace with neighboring nations and increased Israel's standing in the world. However, these alliances came with a spiritual price. Solomon's foreign wives brought with them their cultures, their customs, and most significantly, their gods. They worshipped deities like Ashtoreth, Molech, and Chemosh. And over time, Solomon allowed temples and altars to be built for these gods within the land of Israel. This was a direct violation of the covenant between God and the Israelites, who were commanded to worship only the Lord. The problem wasn't just the physical temples or the idols. It was the gradual turning of Solomon's heart. His heart, once fully devoted to the Lord, slowly began to stray. The man who had once prayed for wisdom above all else began to indulge in wealth, power, and pleasure. Solomon, who had been given more than any other king in history, fell prey to the temptations of luxury and influence. Solomon's story forces us to confront the question, how does one manage the temptations that come with success? How does a person, blessed with wisdom, still make choices that lead to their undoing? The challenge for Solomon, and for us all, is staying grounded in faith and values, even when life offers opportunities to deviate. Let's start by looking at Solomon's early years. When he first became king, Solomon was a young man, aware of the enormous responsibility that lay before him. In a moment of humility, Solomon turned to God in prayer, asking not for wealth or power, but for wisdom. This prayer marked the beginning of his reign, and God answered it abundantly. Solomon was granted wisdom beyond measure, and with it came immense blessings. One of the most famous moments demonstrating Solomon's wisdom was the judgment between two women who both claimed to be the mother of a baby. Solomon's clever and seemingly brutal suggestion to divide the child in half prompted the real mother to reveal herself by offering to give up the child. This act of wisdom not only resolved the dispute, but cemented Solomon's reputation as a ruler, guided by insight and fairness. Solomon's ability to see through deception and uncover the truth earned him respect and admiration not only from his own people, but from leaders far beyond Israel's borders. But Solomon's wisdom extended beyond courtroom judgments. He was also a skilled administrator and a visionary leader. Under his reign, Israel experienced unprecedented peace and prosperity. The land was fertile, trade routes flourished, and Israel's economy reached new heights. Solomon's ambitious building projects, including cities, palaces, and fortifications, further expanded Israel's influence. His relationship with King Hiram of Tyre, who provided the materials and craftsmen for these projects, exemplified Solomon's diplomatic skill. However, Solomon's crowning achievement was the construction of the temple in Jerusalem. The temple became the heart of worship for the people of Israel and was a symbol of God's covenant with his people. Solomon spared no expense in its construction. Cedar wood from Lebanon, gold, silver, and bronze were all used to make the temple a structure of unparalleled beauty. It stood as a testament to Israel's wealth and devotion to God. The dedication of the temple was one of the most significant religious events in Israel's history. Solomon prayed for God's continued presence and blessing, offering sacrifices and worshiping with all of Israel. This was a high point in Solomon's reign, a moment where the entire nation came together in worship. But even at this peak of spiritual devotion, the seeds of Solomon's downfall were being sown. As Solomon's reign progressed, so did his desire for wealth and power. The Bible tells us that silver became as common as stones in Jerusalem during Solomon's reign. He built a magnificent palace for himself that took 13 years to complete, longer than it took to build the temple. This shift in focus is important to note. As Solomon's wealth and political alliances grew, so did his distractions. His attention turned from worshiping God to the pleasures and indulgences of the world. Solomon's marriages were not just about political alliances, they also reflected his growing appetite for pleasure and luxury. His many wives and concubines introduced him to foreign customs and, most dangerously, foreign gods. Over time, Solomon began to tolerate and even participate in the worship of these deities, allowing temples and altars to be built for them. The man who had built the temple for the worship of the one true God now allowed the worship of idols within his kingdom. This was a profound shift, not only for Solomon, but for the entire nation. The critical turning point in Solomon's life comes when God speaks to him once more. This time with a warning. God had already appeared to Solomon twice, reminding him to walk in his ways and to remain faithful. But Solomon's heart had become divided. Despite his wisdom and all the blessings he had received, Solomon allowed his foreign wives to turn his heart after other gods. The Bible explicitly states that Solomon was not fully devoted to the Lord his God, as his father David had been. God's warning was clear. Because Solomon had turned away, there would be consequences. God declared that the kingdom would be torn apart after Solomon's death. Although Solomon would not witness the division of his kingdom in his lifetime, his son would inherit a fractured kingdom, and much of what Solomon had built would crumble. This divine warning is a key moment in Solomon's story. It highlights a sobering truth that even the wisest and most successful people can fall if they lose their connection with God. Solomon, who had once been the model of wisdom and devotion, had become consumed by his own desires and indulgences. His downfall serves as a reminder that no amount of wisdom or success can replace a humble and obedient heart. The tragedy of Solomon's story lies not just in his personal failure, but in the lasting impact his choices had on the nation of Israel. His actions set the stage for the eventual division of the kingdom into Israel and Judah, leading to generations of conflict and instability. Solomon's wisdom could not save him from the consequences of straying from his faith. In summary, Solomon's life is a complex tale of wisdom, power, and spiritual decline. Despite being blessed with unparalleled wisdom and wealth, Solomon allowed the distractions of foreign alliances, wealth, and pleasure to lead him astray. His story serves as a powerful reminder that wisdom alone is not enough to sustain a righteous life. True wisdom requires not only knowledge, but also obedience, humility, and a heart fully devoted to God. Solomon's downfall shows us the dangers of straying from our values and faith, no matter how successful or wise we may become. It serves as a warning about the seductive power of wealth and indulgence and the importance of remaining grounded in our spiritual foundations. The tale of Solomon is not just a story from the past, it is a timeless lesson for all of us. Thank you for watching. If you found this deep dive into the life of King Solomon insightful, make sure to hit the like button and share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your perspective. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next exploration of biblical stories and lessons. See you in the next video.